Hi, this is Sandy of Sandy Pie Creations, and in this video we're going to continue what we started in our basic how-to series of in the last video we clipped our papers in Elements or Photoshop to a hybrid template of mine, saved it as a JPEG at a high quality of 10 or higher. And now I have it open in Silhouette Studio, which is simply just File, Open, and I selected my JPEG. If you need to, if it doesn't open at 8.5 by 11, you can go over here to your scale settings, select it, and 8.5, 11, we're good. This is the very basic Silhouette Studio. It is not the Designer Edition. It is just the basics because I didn't want to get into Designer and make you feel like you had to purchase something when I'm not sure that it's really necessary that you have to have it. So from here, what I do is I will just go back into my folder, and I'm going to use the DXF files. Those are the ones I prefer to use. And I just click it and drag it into, and you see how it's loading here. And ta-da, there it is. And somehow magically it's the right size. From here I'm going to Object, Align, Center to Page, and that gets us usually in the ballpark of where we need to be. If this the cut files did not open at the right size, which does tend to happen a lot, and we'll just shift and drag it to give you an idea of what would happen. Okay, so let's say they opened and they were not the right size. Okay, we're going to select them and go back into our cutting files here. We're going to open our dimensions. It's usually a PDF. It's always included in your download. I have not put I rarely use this laptop. That sounds terrible, but here we go. So this is your piece dimensions that's included in every download. Because we're doing we use the piece that's all, we want our width to be 6.923, our height to be 9.378 inches. So we can copy this. We can select that layer. We're going to go over here to Scale, and in our width, because we have our lock aspect box clicked, paste it in there. Paste it in there correctly. Tab. That's going to set our next measurement. And I just want to say that should you have to do this and you put your first one in from the table, you click Tab and go to the next one, and this last number here is a little bit different. It's really okay. It's such a minor size that it's not going to make a difference, but sometimes the software that I use to make my templates and the cutting files uses a different rounding system or whatever to make that number. So as long as one of these two numbers is what is on this table, you're going to be okay. It's not ever going to make that big of a difference. So we've got our numbers plugged in correctly here. We're going to hit Apply. It's going to shrink it down to the size we want, and then we can just do that again. Object, Align, Center to Page. That gets us really close. We'll zoom in using the magnifying glass, and just using your arrow keys, Apparently I have saved something. Using your arrow keys, you are just going to line that up as close as you can get. The flaw that I have found with the Silhouette Studio software is print and cut is just one of those things you just have to grin and bear, because sometimes no matter how much you set this up to look perfect on the screen, sometimes it's just going to be a little bit off. And I don't know if that's a proprietary thing that they do or what happens, but sometimes it does just happen. Okay, so we've got our cut lines in here and ready. We have everything set up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the print and cut portion. So this is why we didn't print out of Elements or Photoshop. You have to do it out of your Silhouette Studio because it needs these registration marks to sense where everything is so it can line it up as close as it's going to get. So I am using a Cameo. So I'm going to, once I open my registration window, I pick the type 1 Cameo. If you're a little closer to the, if these little black lines and this square, the Silhouette has to be able to read these. If you're cutting a little too close to the edges of something, you can change these numbers. I would not recommend going less than ½ inch. So if I wanted to, I could change these all to ½ inch and or just portions of it. And see, now it offsets, there's only ½ inch in from the sides of the page. You'll learn your Silhouette, you'll learn how close to edges you can get, you can learn how it works with different papers, whether it's going to allow you to do that close to the edge. Some papers are just a little flimsier and don't like that much jarring around too close to the edge. It just, there have been some tears shed over my Silhouette, but I do love it. And that's about it for getting your page set up with your registration marks and your cut lines. From here, you're going to go to your print menu. And that's going to bring up whatever printer you want. You're going to want to make sure that you go into Preferences, make sure that you have your paper type picked. My personal preference would be a Premium Presentation paper matte finish, which means it is not shiny at all. Just seems to work better. I usually bump my quality up to high. I'm doing color, I'm in portrait, everything else is the same. This is all going to change a little bit depending on what type of printer you used. As I said in other videos, I do strongly stand by an Epson printer. The paper is less, it's entirely up to you. So once you've changed your preferences in here, you can make sure to click Apply so that it does do what you want it to do. Make those changes for quality and your paper type. And then you're just going to go to Print. So, and then that will print out from your machine. From there, you're going to, if you feel that it needs time to dry, to set, give yourself plenty of time. Be prepared that they don't always work the first time. My biggest tips would be to make sure that your mat is clean. I like to use like an old store gift card, the nice hard plastic. Scrape all the little bits of stuff off of your mat. I personally stick to silhouette mats. I know people that use other kinds. When I'm printing and cutting, I want to make sure that everything's on the mat where it's supposed to be, so I stick to silhouette. I'm not paid. I'm not endorsed by them. I'm not everything that I do with them. I pay full price for out of my own pocket. The next thing is make sure that your blades are sharp. Make sure they're fresh. You can, and I will do a video about how to clean out the blade. If you're having some problems cutting, the first two things I would check is make sure that your blade is clean and sharp, not wore out, and that your mat is clean. And then sometimes you might have to look into whether your paper quality, and again, things I can talk about later. So we're going to say that I've printed this, and then from there we're going to click on this, send it to the silhouette. And I forgot to turn mine on. And connect it to my computer. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so my Cameo is now connected. Like I said, we went from send to silhouette. We opened our silhouette. We made sure it was turned on. We have our registration marks on. Ready to go to the next thing. From here, you can go to your adjust cut settings. And this is where you're going to set up your paper type, how you want it to cut, whether it's paper, it could be a magnet, it could be chipboard. Normally I believe that I would probably do a cover stock, or I usually have something saved in here. Again, this is where you have to, you want to make sure that you do a practice cut with the type of paper that you use, and then from there you want to save that as a setting. Once you've got all these settings ready, then you're just going to click here and send it to the silhouette, and it's going to pull your paper in that you put on the mat and go from there. And it's going to read your registration marks. I have just turned mine off because I have nothing in there. But it's going to read those registration marks. Once it's read it, it's just going to start and go. And from there, you know how to do the rest. I hope this has helped and not confused. If you have any questions, if I've made it actually harder, which was not my intention at all, let me know. Send me an email, sandypiecreations@gmail.com, or you can leave questions, comments on this video. And I believe that's about it for now. So thank you so much for watching, and happy hybriding, everybody. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.